Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Let's start off your week with some Harold Peary and the Great Gildersleeve, along with some Bob Bailey and Let George Do It, and an episode of Lum and Abner. That's all coming up over the next 90 minutes. Thank you for joining me on this Monday. This is the 18th day of September, the 261st day of the year, 104 days remaining until we get to 2024. Now, Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Act on this date in 1850, which required the return of escaped slaves to their owners. In 1851, the first edition of the New York Daily Times, which later became the New York Times, published. 1927, the Columbia Broadcasting System, founded on this date by William S. Paley. In 1947, the National Security Act, which unified the Army, Navy, and Air Force, was passed. In 1961, Secretary General of the United Nations Dag Hammarskjöld was killed in a plane crash in northern Rhodesia, what today is Zambia.
In keeping with the spirit which typified the dedicated efforts of Mr. Hammarskjöld, the Secretariat is carrying on with a full sense of its duty. May I add that I am sure I interpret the feeling of all my colleagues and all our fellow workers in this House and wherever the United Nations is at work in the cause of peace, to say that this is a tragic loss for the United Nations, for the cause of peace everywhere, and for humanity.
I know that I'm speaking for all of my fellow Americans in expressing our deep sense of shock and loss in the untimely death of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Dag Hammarskjöld. Dag Hammarskjöld's dedication to the cause of peace, his untiring labors to achieve it, his courage under attack, his willingness to accept all responsibility in trying to strengthen the United Nations and make it a more effective instrument for the aspirations of the hundreds of millions of people around the globe who desire to live out their lives. Those efforts of his are well known. It is tragic and ironical that his death came during a mission he was undertaking in order to bring a ceasefire in Katanga. I am hopeful that the members of the United Nations, recognizing his untiring labors, will attempt in the coming sessions and in the years to come to try to build the United Nations into the effective instrument for peace, which was Dag Hammarskjöld's great ambition. I express my sympathy to his country, the government of Sweden, and I hope that all of us will recognize the heavy burden his passing places upon us.
You heard in that clip first Brazilian Undersecretary for Public Information H. Tavares de Sá, followed by President John Kennedy. Hammarskjöld was 56. In 1975, newspaper heiress Patricia Hearst, captured by the FBI in San Francisco 19 months after being kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army. In 1999, Sammy Sosa became the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit 60 home runs in 2 seasons.
2-2. Hit deep to center. Grissom back. 60!
The call, as it was heard from WGN television, Sosa would repeat the feat in 2001, becoming the only player to have hit 60 or more home runs in a single season 3 times. And it was in 2001 the first mailing of anthrax letters from Trenton, New Jersey in the 2001 anthrax attacks. Passing away on this date in history, actor Frank Morgan, actor, singer, producer Francois Tone, also Jimi Hendrix, Russ Meyer, the director, producer, and screenwriter, and Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This is the birth date of Eddie Anderson, better known as Rochester.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Columbia Broadcasting System invites you to sit back, relax, and listen to Eddie Anderson in the private life of Rochester Van Jones. Rochester, you look sad. What's the trouble?
I've got a problem. It looks like I'm going to lose my girl, Susie. She's been having dates with another fella.
He's making pretty good time with her, huh?
Time and a half. And double time on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays.
An excerpt from an unsold pilot, The Private Life of Rochester Van Jones, Eddie Anderson, born on this date in history. Also born on this date, Greta Garbo, Jack Warden, Jimmy Rogers, She Has Kisses Sweeter Than Wine, Robert Blake, who passed away earlier this year, also comedian Fred Willard, James Gandolfini, and June Foray, who was a wonderful voice actress.
Yes, well, just where are you from? I mean, what manner of...
I am Miss Jupiter. I was chosen out of 10,000 girls on our planet.
Miss Jupiter? Why, that's amazing.
Why? Look, the contest was called Miss Universe, right?
Right.
So how come they wouldn't let me in?
Well, you got a point there.
That's my antenna.
Oh, so it is, yeah. Look, Miss Jupiter, how did you get here?
I flew my saucer down. What do you think?
Yes, I see it there. Why don't you climb all the way out of it?
I have climbed all the way out of it. I parked it outside.
Yes, but those wheels. What about those wheels?
Those wheels, as you so indelicately put it, happen to be my best feature. Some girls got curly antennas. Other girls got cute suction cups. I got shapely wheels.
A wonderful voice actress, June Foray, born on this date in history. The man who sang about Venus, Frankie Avalon, 83 years old today. One of the people behind Carry On My Wayward Son, Carrie Livgren from Kansas. And he, not just the group, he really is from Kansas. He was born in Topeka, and he's 74 years old today. Dr. Ben Carson is 72. From 21 Jump Street, Holly Robinson Pete is 59. From Saturday Night Live, Jason Sudeikis is 48. From The New Edition and Belle Biv DeVoe, Ricky Bell, 56. From Talk Soup and Whose Line Is It Anyway, Aisha Tyler, 53. Mrs. Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, is 52. From Cyclops and X-Men, James Marston is 50 years old today. And the wife of Kevin Jonas, Danielle Jonas, one of the Jonas Boys, the singers, 37. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 18th day of September as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you!
And we'll start this triple-header Monday edition of Classic Radio Theater with an episode of Harold Peary and the Great Gildersleeve from 77 years ago today, September 18th, 1946. I'm Wyatt Cox, and this is Classic Radio Theater. Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now, an episode of The Great Gildersleeve starring Harold Peary. This goes back 77 years to September 18th, 1946.
The Kraft Foods Company presents The Great Gildersleeve. It's The Great Gildersleeve, starring Harold Peary, brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company, makers of Parquet Margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products. In the modest home of the Great Gildersleeve, there occurs a phenomenon peculiar to male youth. It is marked by the gentle pattering of feet. A small voice at the kitchen door.
Bertie!
And a delicate hint of his wishes.
Bertie, breakfast!
I'm bringing it, Leroy. I'm bringing it. Goodness gracious, what's all the hurry?
It's Saturday.
Confounded Leroy, why can't you get up like this other mornings?
Oh, hi, Unc. There's nothing to do other mornings, except school.
Well, there's something to do this morning. Leaves.
Leaves? Oh, for corn's sake, Unc, do I have to rake dirty old leaves?
Leaves are nature's own handiwork, my boy. They're beautiful. And Leroy,
Yes?
when you finish raking them, be sure you burn the darn things. Oh, good morning, Bertie.
Morning, Mr. Gildersleeve. I had to walk clear out to the curb for the morning paper again.
Oh, that's too bad, Bertie. These confounded paper boys can't see beyond the end of their handlebars. Where is the paper?
Under your elbow.
Oh, yes. Bertie, I think I'll have some scrambled eggs and ham with a side order of scrambled eggs and bacon.
Coming up, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Let's have the comics, Unc.
Leroy.
Oh, please.
Comics. You should read a paper by looking at page 1 first. The big news.
Okay, let's see page 1. Please.
I'm reading it. Here's the comic page. Well, let's see what's happening in the outside world.
Me and Piggy were going
Piggy and I, Leroy.
Us guys were going to play football this morning.
Later, Leroy. First things first, my boy.
Oh, for corn's sake.
Let's see here. Man bites wife's dog in fit of jealous rage. Apologizes. Wonder who he apologized to.
Piggy's got a brand new football, Unc, and all the guys are going to play this morning.
Leroy, you know you have your duties around the house. You can play this afternoon.
But by this afternoon, the ball will be all dirty.
Leroy, if you'll be quiet a minute, I can get the paper read.
All right.
Mr. Gildersleeve, I think you ought to call the paper and complain about that boy throwing our paper in the gutter.
All right, Bertie.
I called him 3 times, but they don't pay no attention. I think you ought to call him, Mr. Gildersleeve.
All right, Bertie, I will.
I think you ought to call him, you being water commissioner and all. They keep hiding it in the gutter. How can anybody read the paper?
Yes, Bertie, how can anybody read the paper? Now, what about my breakfast?
Coming up, Mr. Gildersleeve. I'm not the one to be complaining, but the only way you can get it is
Now, maybe a man can read the paper in his own home. Water commissioner faces possible jail sentence. Poor fellow probably... Water commissioner?
Unc, all the fellas are going to be playing football this morning.
Oh, Springfield water commissioner. I didn't think it was me. Emerson Brunker, Springfield water commissioner, today faced a possible fine of $10,000 or 10 years imprisonment, or both. Both. For malfeasance in office.
I could rake the leaves this afternoon, Unc.
Yeah, all right, Leroy. An audit disclosed a shortage in Brunker's department of $5.52. Probably betting on the races.
Or tomorrow, maybe, huh, Unc?
Yes, Leroy. Brunker said...
Gee, thanks, Unc. You're super.
Oh, Leroy! Confound that boy. That was deliberate malfeasance. I'll have to ask Hooker what malfeasance means.
Good morning, Uncle Mort.
Well, good morning, Marjorie. Sit down and have some breakfast, my dear. Did you sleep well?
Just fine, Unky.
You want some orange juice, Miss Marjorie?
Oh, if you please, Bertie. What's in the paper this morning, Unky?
Same old thing. Trouble. Springfield water commissioner's about to get the works. That wasn't intentional, my dear. It just came to me.
That I believe.
Yes. Well, this Brunker, he's the commissioner in Springfield. Accounts were short $5.52. Obviously, the man is incompetent. I'm just about to read his statement here. Let's see.
Oh, Unky, hold the paper up a little more, will you?
Hold the paper up? What?
A darling play suit Hogan Brothers are advertising.
By George, I'm going to work where I can read this paper in peace. And besides, you're too big a girl to be wearing a play suit.
Throckmorton, are you going down
Yes. Want to go along?
Would you, Mama Dolphin?
Oh, I'd love it.
I simply must get to town today and pay my water bill, or that nasty old commissioner might have my water turned off.
That nasty old commissioner's a regular ogre. He gobbles up little girls.
I know it, especially one from Savannah, Georgia.
Well, we can't go anyplace sitting here, can we? Oh, and did you say you wanted to pay your water bill, Leela?
Mm-hmm. Isn't it simply terrible that I have to go all the way to town just for that?
The Summerfield Water Department has just this very day inaugurated a new service.
It has?
Certainly has. We now collect payments in the water commissioner's car.
Wow.
But only from our favorite customer.
Oh, Throckmorton, you're sweet.
Am I, Leela?
You certainly are. Here, now, I have the bill and the money in this envelope, and I'll put it in the breast pocket of your coat.
Oh, it tickles.
There. Now, do you know where it is?
Sure, it's in my breast pocket.
Throckmorton.
What's the matter?
It's right over your heart.
Oh.
Now, you won't forget, will you, Throckmorton?
Forget? They don't call me Elephant Boy for nothing, you know.
Well, yes, but I thought that was because you're so fat. Oh.
Well, thank you, Leela. I'll attend to your account the first thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Throckmorton. I don't know whatever made me say that.
Quite all right, Leela. Now, if you'll excuse me,
Oh, don't be mad at me, Throckmorton.
Let's forget it, Leela.
Let's. Throckmorton, I wanted you to come to a little tea party this afternoon.
I just happened to be stopped, that's all.
Oh, now let's not talk about it anymore.
All right.
I hope you won't be busy this afternoon.
You know, some men are born with 4 thumbs.
Throckmorton, I like stout men. Really, I do. Especially handsome ones.
What time is your tea party, Leela?
Oh, anytime. I thought it would be nice if I started having afternoon teas. Just intimate little affairs.
Sounds like a great idea. Great.
I thought we'd sit around and drink tea and I'd bake cookies. Would you like that, Throckmorton?
I like anything you do with those dainty white hands, especially cookies.
And afterwards we could sort of rest on the sofa and discuss things.
Sounds cozy.
Just you and the judge and I.
Judge Hooker? What's he doing at our party?
I invited him. Oh, why, Throckmorton, Horace is your best friend.
But...
And besides, he said he can't stay long.
Oh. Well, in that case...
Then I'll expect you the minute you get through work.
I might even fudge a little.
Oh, I hope so. Well, Throckmorton, hadn't we better be on our way?
On our way?
Well, if I'm going to bake cookies, I have to hurry to town and pay my water bill.
Well, I thought I was going to do that for you.
Oh, Throckmorton, whatever makes me so giddy?
I'd like to think it was me.
Maybe it is. Oh, you have such a fine brain, Throckmorton. You never forget a thing, do you?
Forget? They don't call me Elephant. I never forget.
Oh, you.
Well, for once, there's a place to park right in front. Darn smart aleck kids these days.
Beat you to it that time, Gildy.
Hooker, you old goat. Well, here's another space. You old goat, what's the idea of taking my parking place?
I don't see your name on it any place. First come, first parked.
Someday, Horace, you'll go too far.
That reminds me, I have to go now. See you at Leela's.
Just a minute, Horace, old friend.
Old friend?
What do you say we ditch that tea party?
What?
Well, you know how these affairs are. A lot of idle chit-chat that doesn't mean a thing.
Well, I'm not too fond of tea parties, but I promise Leela.
Oh, come on, Horace. I'll make some excuse to Leela for both of us.
I don't know. What do you propose in the way of a substitute?
Well, why don't we, just the two of us, go up to Grass Lake and get in a little fishing? Season closes next Wednesday, you know.
I don't know, Gildy.
Come on, Horace. Just think, we could wear our old clothes. You wouldn't even have to change.
You would, or you'd scare the fish all away.
Very good, Horace, very good. What do you say? Let's rent a boat and just drift while we strengthen our friendship with real man talk.
Man talk? What's that?
Man to man. Ye gods, Horace. Haven't you ever talked man to man? Or is it always judge to victim?
What, for instance, would you call man talk? Just what would we talk about?
Anything. Politics, love, murder, anything you like.
Come to think of it, Gildy, I would like to get your reaction to that story about the Springfield Water Commissioner getting into trouble. As your friend and attorney, I'd like to know, is there any danger of an incident like that here in Summerfield?
Certainly not.
Well, you know what happened, don't you?
Of course I do. What?
Why, according to the statement he gave the police, he was so far behind his collections, he had to juggle the books. And that's how they trapped him. How are your collections, Throckmorton?
Never better. I keep my department in apple pie order at all times. Well, there may be one or two delinquent accounts.
Well, look what happened to Brunker. You better watch those delinquent accounts, Gildy. Turn off their water once, just once, and I guarantee they'll pay up on time thereafter.
But, Judge, you can't go around turning off people's water. What if they get thirsty?
You go down to the drugstore and buy a Coke.
How would they wash dishes?
Go down to the drugstore and buy paper plates.
How would they take baths?
Well, they can. Great Caesar's little fishes, Gildersleeve. You're the water commissioner, not the guardian of the public's ablutions. You have a responsibility to the state, to the people as a whole. When the time comes to be tough, you've got to be tough.
It's no use, Horace. I'm not tough. I'm just lovable.
No, that's the trouble.
Don't worry about the water department, Horace. How about it now? Are we going fishing this afternoon?
Well, sounds like it might be fun.
Great. I'll meet you at the boathouse. I've got several things to attend to, so if I'm a little late, you row on out and fish till I get there.
Well, all right. See you later, Gildy.
What a sucker.
By the way, old man, if I'm a little late, you fish till I get there.
Huh?
And we'll find out whether Hooker swallowed Gildersleeve's bait in just a minute.
Mr. Lang, I heard you say last week that there still isn't enough parquet margarine to go around. But just yesterday, several of my friends bought parquet, and I was lucky enough to get a package, too.
I can see where there's going to be a good eating at your house this week. Mm-hmm. Delicious, flavor-fresh parquet margarine for spreading on hot breakfast toast, or golden brown pancakes, or melting into muffins for a real flavor treat at dinner.
Oh, I should say so. My family's delighted. But I wanted to ask, Mr. Lang, are we soon going to get all the parquet we want?
I wish I could say yes. And of course you will get some from time to time because we're distributing parquet margarine as fairly as we can to food dealers. However, even though Kraft continues to make all the parquet possible, there still isn't enough to meet the big demand. Spreads for bread of all kinds are among the scarcest foods in America, in the whole world for that matter. Just remember, there are millions who prefer parquet, and though it's scarce, always look first for Parkay, parquet margarine, at your food store. And now back to the Great Gildersleeve, who at long last is arriving at his office.
Hi-ho, it's off to work we go. Diddle-dee-dee. Good morning, Bessie. How's Bessie? Bessie, where are you? Confound that Bessie. I'm going to have to get rid of her. She's out of the office so much I'd get lonesome if I was here very often myself. Let's see what's to be done today. Have to get a new chair one of these days. Letters to be signed. More work to this job than most people think. Kind of fun signing letters, though. Wonder what Bessie has on my mind today. Dear sir, this is to inform you your water account is 7 months past due. 7 months? Ye gods, what does he think we're running here? A public drinking fountain? Don't tell me all these letters are delinquent notices. 6 months, 8 months, 3 months. Well, that's better. 8 months, 12 months. That's almost a whole year. By George, it is a whole year. Confounded people, why don't they pay their bills? I certainly hate to turn off their water. Gildersleeve, are you a man or a mouse? What's that got to do with it? You've got to be tough about these things, Gildy. You have a responsibility to the state, to the people as a whole. You're derelict in your duty. Imagine me, a derelict. I am not. You are so. I am not. You are. Arguing with myself. But I'm right. It's like I told Hooker. When the time comes to be tough, you gotta be tough. The old goat. Yeah. Where's that waterworks number?
Charlie Anderson, this end.
Charlie, this is the commissioner. What do you think we should do about people who don't pay their water bills?
Oh, that's your business, Commissioner. My job's to see the mechanical equipment keeps going 10 years longer than it should.
Confound it. Can't you express an opinion?
What's the matter, Commissioner? Job too big for you?
No, the job isn't too big for me.
Then why call me to make your decisions?
I'm not calling you to make my decisions. I've already made one. I want you to turn off everybody's water who haven't paid their bills for 3 months.
3 months?
Yes? I'll have Bessie make a list. You can pick it up in an hour and start right away.
This afternoon? Okay,
Right.
Commissioner. Oh, by the way, tell Bessie not to put my name on that list. I'll bring the money when I get it.
Charlie, what do you do with all your money?
All my money? Listen, you fat tightwad with my salary.
Confound it, Charlie. Can't you show a little respect? After all, I am head of the water department.
Okay, Waterhead.
Oh! And don't call me Waterhead. Water Commissioner.
Yeah, Water Commissioner.
That's better. Bessie? Is that you?
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Come in here, Bessie. Confound it. We're running an office here.
Did you want something, Mr. Gildersleeve?
You can't just go wandering off whenever you feel like it, Bessie. By George, your place is here. How are we ever going to get the work caught up if we keep dashing off?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm going to be gone for the rest of the day. Let's see. Seems like there was something I was supposed to remember. Pay the gas bill? No, I haven't got my third notice yet. Oh, yes. Bessie, Charlie Anderson will be by in an hour to pick up a list of accounts delinquent more than 3 months. Yes, sir. I knew I'd remember it.
Well, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you today?
Peavy, give me about a half a dozen cigars.
Yeah, just help yourself, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Thanks. Peavy.
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve?
What would you do if you paid your water bill, Peavy?
Well, now, Mr. Gildersleeve, I have till the 10th of the month. I hardly think it's necessary to start dunning me so soon. That'll be 93 cents.
No. What I meant was, you aren't delinquent, are you?
If you mean by delinquent, have I ever been in trouble with the police? The answer is no. That is, nothing serious.
Confound it, Peavy. I don't care if you have a private cell at Joliet. I'm talking about your water bill.
I'm just having my little joke, Mr. Gildersleeve. Has there been a mistake in my statement?
Mistake? How should I know?
Well, you're the water commissioner, and I thought...
Stop thinking. I want to ask your advice on something.
Oh, I'm always glad to give advice, Mr. Gildersleeve, even if there's no profit in it. The cigars were 93 cents, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Look, Peavy, I did a pretty drastic thing this morning. Too darn many people have been playing on my generous nature. They've let their water bills go as long as 12 months. So I'm having their water turned off.
You don't say.
Yeah. What would you do if you were water commissioner?
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, I think the first thing I'd do is sell this drugstore.
Look, Peavy, forget the drugstore.
My, what a pleasant thought. And you know, if I could get elected water commissioner...
Peavy, just forget the whole thing.
Well, I thought you wanted some advice.
No, you're too late. I've already acted.
Well, I didn't mean to make you mad, Mr. Gildersleeve.
I'm not mad. If anything, I feel gay. You see, Peavy, I'm expected by a certain party at a certain time.
That's so.
Mm-hmm. At a certain place. And if things go right, there'll be just the two of us there.
That's so.
Yeah. Well, aren't you curious?
Curious?
Yes, I mean, isn't there any question you'd like to ask?
Well, yes, there is. About how many families would you say will be affected by your cutoff order?
About 40 families, Peavy. Why?
Well, I wanted to get a line on how much extra soda water to order.
You don't miss a trick, do you, Peavy?
You can't afford to, Mr. Gildersleeve. As I was remarking to Judge Hooker just a few minutes ago before you come in...
Was he in here?
Yes, he was. He wanted to buy some oil of citronella.
Uh-huh. The judge always takes citronella on a fishing trip. He draws flies, you know. Well, I have to dash off.
That was 90 cents for the cigars and 3 cents for the governor, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh? Put it on my bill, Peavy. I've got till the 10th of the month, too. Well, here we are. Have Leela all to myself today. Should I ring or should I just knock intimately? I'll do both. Open up, Leela. Throckmorton is here. Hello, Angel.
Hello, sugar pie.
Hooker, you old goat, what are you doing here? I thought you went fishing.
I did, and I caught something, too, you big fish.
Why, you scheming, conniving, double...
Well, just wait until I tell Leela how you tried to persuade me to go fishing with you. Maybe you can try a little of your man talk on her.
Hooker, if you say anything, I'll break your... Hello, Leela.
Whatever are you two boys arguing about?
Well, this morning, Gildy and I had a little man talk. He suggested...
Yes, man talk. You wouldn't understand.
Well, I'd like to know why not. I declare, Throckmorton, you're getting more and more like my late husband, Beauregard.
I wonder if that's a compliment.
He was always keeping little secrets from me, though I'm sure it didn't bother me in the least. Merely annoyed me.
Well, this matter is no secret, Leela. As I was saying...
Shall we go in and make ourselves comfortable? Dibs on the easy chair.
I'll sit here on the sofa.
I'll sit on the sofa, too.
Oh, this easy chair is comfortable. You want to try it, Horace?
No, thank you. Now, as I was saying, Leela, Gildy suggested...
Did you make the cookies, Leela?
I promised, didn't I?
Now, as I was saying...
Horace, you tell Throckmorton about it while I get the cookies. And I'll get the tea ready while you boys pass the time of day.
All right, Leela, we'll just chat a while. You old goat.
You four-flusher.
You old goat.
Just wait until I tell Leela what...
Here she comes now. No, Horace, I don't think it's going to rain.
Throckmorton.
Yes, Leela? Are the cookies ready?
Yes, Throckmorton.
That's nice. And the tea?
There isn't going to be any tea.
Oh, forget to buy some? Well, never mind. Horace can run down to the grocery store.
Mr. Gildersleeve, my water has been turned off.
It'll only take a half. What did you say, Leela?
I said my water has been turned off, Commissioner. Really, Horace, I don't see anything funny about it.
Horace told me to turn it off, Leela.
Well, Judge Hooker, I just wish some of my male relatives were here.
Now, wait a minute, Leela. I did nothing of the kind. I merely advised the commissioner here to turn off the delinquent subscribers. I had no idea you were one of them.
I'll have you know that I'm not. I gave Throckmorton the money this month. Mr. Gildersleeve, did you pay my water bill this morning? Throckmorton, answer me.
Water bill?
Throckmorton, what do I see in your breast pocket?
Looks like an envelope.
Snitch.
It is an envelope, the one I gave you this morning. This is all your carelessness, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Why don't we all go over to my house and have tea over there?
Well, Horace might like to, but I...
You may count me out, Gildy. I just remembered a previous engagement. To go fishing.
Well, if Horace is going fishing, yes, I'll come over.
Well, you get the cookies spread out, Leela, while I make the tea.
All right, Throckmorton.
That's it. Now for some water. Oh, my goodness. Leela, I'm afraid I've got you over here under false pretenses.
Aren't you sweet?
We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve again very shortly. During this time when all spreads for bread are scarce, it's only natural that you should want the finest. That's true of Parquet margarine, all right, because millions of homemakers keep looking for and demanding this quality spread that sells at such a reasonable price. Kraft is making all the Parquet margarine possible under present conditions, but we know there's not nearly enough to meet the demand. From time to time, you will be able to get Parquet from your food dealer. He's getting a fair share of all the Parquet margarine Kraft is making. And when you do buy Parquet, you'll find it's the same fine quality as always. Fresh and delicately sweet in flavor, rich in food energy, and with 15,000 units of vitamin A in every pound. So look first for Parquet when you shop. That's Parkay. Parquet margarine made by Kraft.
Speak to me of love and say what I'm longing to hear.
Oh, you're wonderful.
Well, tender words of love, repeat them again, I implore you.
Oh, Throckmorton, you're positively handsome when you stand like that, with your mouth open and the words pouring out.
You're lovely too, Leela. Let's go sit on the sofa.
Hey, Uncle Mort, how can I take a bath? There's no water.
Oh, Leroy, go to bed. He'll be asleep in a few minutes, folks.
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Harold Peary. This week's story was written by Frank Moore and Bill Kelsey. The cast includes Walter Tetley and Lillian Randolph, who play Leroy and Bertie. Leela Ransom is Shirley Mitchell, Judge Hooker is Earl Ross, and Dick LeGrand plays Mr. Peavy. The music is by Jack Meakin. This is John Lang speaking for the Kraft Foods Company and inviting you to be with us again next Wednesday, same time and station, for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
Ladies, here's how to make leftovers not seem like leftovers at all. It's easy with Pabstet, the delicious cheddar cheese food. First, make a luscious golden cheese sauce with Pabstet and a little milk. Then pour this appetizing cheese sauce over leftovers of meat, fish, vegetables, or rice, and you've a brand new delicious main dish treat. Remember, nourishing Pabstet comes in 2 tempting varieties: pimento Pabstet in the red package and golden cheddar Pabstet in the familiar round yellow package. Get Pabstet when you shop tomorrow.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
From 77 years ago, September 18th, 1946, The Great Gildersleeve. I'm Wyatt Cox. This is Classic Radio Theater. And coming up next, we'll head out to the West Coast for an episode of Let George Do It. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 73 years, September 18th, 1950, an episode of Let George Do It, starring Bob Bailey, cover for an hour.
Personal notice, danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Standard Oil Company of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. Cover for an hour. Another adventure of George Valentine.
Valentine, that's you, isn't it? You're him. I didn't want to call a cop. It just happened. How could I? I don't want to get mixed up, but danger's your stock and trade.
Hey, wait a minute. Slow down. Who are you?
Joe. My name's Joe. Holy gee, Mr. Valentine.
Blue Dart Delivery Service.
Huh? Oh, the hat. Yeah, that's me. My name's Joe.
You said that. Sit down. And
but it's my job, too. That's the trouble. I'll get fired if the boss knows I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Man's going to be slaughtered, I tell you, beaten up.
Stop it, will you? Sit down.
No, I can't. I'm in this ticket agency to pick up a delivery for across town, see? And I overheard this guy behind me. Hey, is this clock right? Is it 12 o'clock, really?
Yes, of course. And stop waving that envelope.
This hasn't got anything to do with it. That's just a delivery. You come with me, Valentine. I'll tell you all about it.
For the last time, Buster, will you?
I'll get fired, I tell you. It'll take me an hour to get back. And this guy's going to get beaten up any minute. My girl, now, she's understanding,
Look,
but...
will you just tell me what happened?
Well, this guy's behind me. There isn't anybody. It's lunchtime, see? Oh, look, lady, could you possibly... I know it's asking a lot, but...
Here. Give me that.
My girl says I just got to keep this job. Gee, thanks, lady. Boy, a guy in my position gets himself into all kinds...
Take it easy, will you? She'll deliver it for you. Only start making sense.
Huh?
Take a deep breath. Relax.
Oh, yeah, sure. Get myself collected.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you were saying you heard somebody's going to get beaten up.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Mr. Valentine, you are...
George. Oh, George, can't you hear me?
I'd better get the rest of this tape off of him, Miss Brooks.
Oh, George, what happened?
Yeah.
Darling.
Yeah.
Here, get up in the chair.
You wouldn't ask a flat tire what happened, would you?
What? Oh. But you were tied up. You were in the closet.
Here, drink this water, Mr. Valentine.
George, this is Mr. Varney.
How do you do?
He just moved into the office down the hall. He helped me get the door open.
Varney. Hey, you see anybody?
You mean in here?
Yeah.
Well, that delivery boy, I bumped into him in the hall. Miss Brooks told me about him, but I didn't think anything. What kind of a building is this, anyway?
George, he must have just done this to you and then run.
The boy. Let's call him a man. In fact, call him several other things. Why? Would you tell me that? What was he after?
I don't know, George. Nothing's been touched.
Oh, yeah, that's what you think.
But it hasn't. Your desk, the files, nothing.
Oh, now, wait a minute. A guy just doesn't walk in.
Sure, George. The furniture's all in place. He didn't pry into anything.
What about the mail? Case is pending.
Nothing except bills this morning, and there aren't any cases.
You mean this man just came in and beat you up and tucked you in the closet and left? What kind of a building is this?
Oh, what? Look, thanks a lot for helping out, friend.
Well, sure, but if I were you, I'd take out insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Varney.
Oh. Hey, didn't he notice anybody else come in here besides that Joe?
No, George. Neither did the janitor. So it must have just happened because somebody bears you a grudge or...
Well, then why did he tie me up and take me in the closet? Now you better guess again. Oh, hey, wait a minute. 1:15?
Mm-hmm. I noticed it was just 1 o'clock when I came back.
An hour. Joe was up here at 12. Oh, brother, we've got a case now, all right. Only what is it? 1 hour missing, Brooksy. And who used it for what?
No, Mr. Valentine. I assure you the Blue Dot Delivery Service does not employ anybody by the name of Joe. It has not employed anyone by that name, and it probably never will. Furthermore, I don't need to look it up, and you needn't look upset, because why? Because the Blue Dot Messenger boys are all girls.
Brooksy, what about that envelope you delivered for Joe?
George, it was just an ordinary...
Well, where'd you take it?
The other side of town. 306 Surety Trust Building.
Whose office?
Well, it looked very nice, George. Mr. J.W. Wagner, some kind of investment counselor.
Investments?
Only he was out to lunch, so I left it with his secretary.
Yeah, it was a pretty thick envelope. Could have been papers or letters, maybe.
Your money. What do you think...
Angel, when a phony like that Joe wants somebody else to make a delivery for him, what's the first thing you think of?
Blackmail?
Uh-huh. And what's the second thing you think of?
Blackmail.
J.W. Wagner, huh? Let's see if he echoes when you ring him.
My dear Mr. Valentine, what kind of a case is this that you're investigating?
Look, let's not embarrass each other, Mr. Wagner.
You see, I've never heard of this Joe person you describe. He's not my sort of client at all.
The envelope did have your name and address on it.
Of course, my dear, and we'll go into that.
Look, Mr. Wagner, tell me about your business. It doesn't seem to surprise you to have an envelope like this from somebody you never heard of.
I often have deliveries, bonds, that sort of thing. But, it doesn't show a return address, does it?
Okay, you have wealthy clients. You handle all kinds of things for them.
Well, for myself, too. I can afford a few hobbies. I'm not poor.
Not slow, either.
I couldn't be tricked into telling you anything that's confidential. Investments are.
Would you call blackmail an investment or a hobby?
Mr. Valentine, I wouldn't show any connection with this thing no matter how long you stole. For heaven's sake, open it, will you?
George, wait.
Huh?
I assure you I haven't even had a chance to open it myself.
I know it's the same envelope, George. I dropped it getting out of the car. There's the spot I got on it.
Uh-huh. Well, the seal's not broken either. It hasn't been tampered with.
All right, so it's the same envelope. Now, will you two open?
Okay, friend, okay. The same one, all right, so here goes.
Paper. Just blank paper.
Now, what in the name...
That does it. First, it's a blank hour you complain of. Now it's blank paper. Good day, Mr. Valentine. A wild goose chase. A wild goose chase.
All right, Lieutenant Riley. That's all it was, sure. This Joe just wanted Miss Brooks out of the way for a while.
But why did that envelope have Mr. Wagner's name on it?
Because his office is on the other side of town, that's why. Pick any office out of the directory. It's an old stunt.
Okay, Riley, okay. So Joe sent Brooksy off on a wild goose chase that took her at least an hour. Then he went to work on my eye.
You know what beefsteak cost this week? You better find out, son.
Oh, that's very funny. The point is, he taped me. He gagged me. I couldn't hear. I was in the closet. Look, Riley, don't you get it? Whatever happened during that hour, whatever Joe did it for, happened in my office.
Thought you said nothing was touched.
It wasn't. And we went over it with a fine-tooth comb.
Then what do you come to me for, asking me?
Riley, listen, please. Somebody must have wanted to use my office. Something must have happened in my office during that hour, and that's...
And so you want to know who got killed this morning? Well, nobody. Nowhere. No place in town. Valentine, you just lost an hour, that's all. I haven't heard any complaints, and I had to work from 12 to 1. You slept.
Oh, Riley, sometimes...
Sure. We'll look for this boy, Joe. But you just relax, son. Forget it. Maybe somebody just used your office to telephone South Africa. You'll get the bill soon enough.
George, when we get in the office, I'll call and get something for that eye.
I want to get some for both of them. I'm going to go through this place with a magnifying glass, and I'm going to... You hear that?
Our office.
Oh, Miss Brooks.
Hey, what in the world are you...
It is you, isn't it? I saw you from the door, the glass.
What are you doing in there? Who are you?
Oh, and gosh, kid, he told me you were sick.
What?
I'm Sue, public stenographer. You know, down at the corner. Oh, I've seen you lots of times, honey, eating lunch at the drugstore.
Yeah, I guess so. Now pull yourself together.
Well, he said I was to take letters. I went in, and there was a letter from somebody's Aunt Nellie.
Letters? Aunt Nellie?
Well, I mean, he wasn't there, only there it was on the desk. Well, I thought it was kind of funny because his wallet was right beside it, too.
Come on.
So, I mean, I didn't see him then, at
Hey,
least...
look, the joint's been torn apart.
Oh, I know. Gee, it looks awful. Oh, honey, listen to me. I just got this call. You see, only a few minutes
What
ago.
call? From whom? Clear it up, will you, Sue? Can't you
Well,
be
he
a little...
said you were sick. I told you. He needed a stenographer.
Who did?
The one whose wallet... Oh, honey, hang on to yourself. He's good-looking, too, like the picture in the wallet. Oh, look out there, mister. It's behind the...
That's a man. On the floor.
George, don't go any closer, honey. Don't. It's him.
Never saw him before. It's not Joe, Brooksy.
Oh, don't you understand? It's his picture in the wallet. His name. It's him. Called me only 15 minutes ago. It's your boss, honey. It's Mr. Valentine lying there. He's dead.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Every day in the week, you'll notice more and more motorists stopping at independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations. Of course, for that's where you get Chevron Supreme, the gasoline that makes your car run smoother and more powerfully than ever before. And that's because Chevron Supreme is super refined to prevent power-robbing gum from forming in your car's engine. Most raw gasolines contain impurities that form gum. The only way to get rid of the impurities is to refine them out. Chevron Supreme is super refined to stop engine-sticking gum and to give your car all the extra power it can handle. That's why motorists say Chevron Supreme gives them that new car feeling. Try it in your car tomorrow. Enjoy full mileage in the kind of driving you do. Get super refined Chevron Supreme at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations. Here you can be sure of quality products and top service. Clean restrooms, for example. And here's where they say, and mean, we take better care of your car. And now, back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. It's a well-covered hour, all right. Only the body lying there on the floor of your office didn't get there during the missing hour, did it? So you still don't know what happened between noon and 1. But there's plenty happening now. In fact, it's been a busy day, and if your name is George Valentine, you're probably less surprised than Lieutenant Riley when he hears that the body lying there, that man who has been shot to death, is you.
Say it slowly. I said slowly. In one sentence.
Well, I don't know who's who. I mean, I couldn't tell.
Oh.
All right. You don't need to pop your eyes at me. But I got this phone call, you see. I'm public steno in the neighborhood. And then this man on the phone says he's George Valentine.
Go on, Sue.
Well, he says you were sick, Miss Brooks. And I knew who you were. You see, Lieutenant, sometimes me and her eat lunch at the same... All right.
Well, get to the point.
Well, so I just pick up my pad and pencil and come up here. Well, I open the door and, it's a typhoon's been here.
Now, look.
And then I look behind the desk and I practically drop my... Well, anyway, it's the same name.
Yeah, now, look.
Only then Miss Brooks and this Mr. Valentine come along. So if you think it isn't natural to be confused...
Yeah,
when it could
thank you. Go have a cup of coffee, honey. We'll get in touch with you. I know it was once a book. She's confused.
Well, it was the proper identification card, all right, with a picture of him, fake signature.
Whoever he was trying to pass himself off as you, George.
Whoever he was is easy, Miss Brooks.
What do you mean?
Jimmy Hank's a small-timer, the boys tell me.
Well, it begins to fit then, doesn't it? How do the boys...
Sure, confidence game, blackmail. That's his specialty. You hit the nail on the head earlier.
Joe slugged me to get the office for an hour. Then I suppose this Jimmy Hanks came up and used it, posing as me.
Well, he didn't get shot during that hour. The doc agrees on that.
So maybe this time he was up to see me or to look for something. You know, in a blackmail or shakedown, people don't get killed unless something goes wrong, do they?
Yeah, hey, you over there.
Mr. Varney, Lieutenant.
Okay, Mr. Varney. Didn't you see anybody else down this hall?
I told you, Sergeant, I've been busy moving my furniture.
A swindle of any kind usually means more than one person. There's got to be somebody around to be took. Now, you must have seen somebody or heard somebody.
I could break my valise, I would, I tell you. What kind of a building is this?
Just answer it straight.
No, I tell you, no. How many times do I have to tell you?
Skip it, Riley, skip it. Thanks, friend. Let him go.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, Aunt Nellie.
Huh? Aunt who?
Aunt Nellie, let's stick to her. The letters Sue noticed, remember?
George, there were several. A couple of others had slipped off the desk. It was a bundle of letters.
All from Aunt Nellie?
Mm-hmm. I read most of them. They're just short ones.
But that's the only thing in the office that wasn't here before, right? That's what our little friend Hank's alias Valentine must have been going through before he was shot.
Or whoever shot him took them off his body and went through them.
A bundle of letters from Aunt Nellie. Yeah, blackmail?
George, I think there may be what went wrong.
What do you mean, Angel?
Well, suppose it was a blackmail case or a shakedown or something, and the important thing was some letters.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody killed Jimmy Hanks and then ransacked this office, obviously, and didn't take the letters.
Supposing that they were the wrong ones.
That's right. That's what went wrong. Somebody had switched letters or palmed off the wrong ones on somebody.
Wait a minute.
Because they're nothing. Just notes about a garden and recipes from an Aunt Nellie, some lady who lives in Honolulu.
Let me see those
And
letters.
they're not important to anybody. They can't be.
Miss Brooks, sometimes it takes an expert.
Lieutenant, look at the envelope. Who's going to blackmail anybody with letters dated 1851?
Huh?
All right, come on, get
Hey, what's going on out there?
Sergeant, what's the matter out there?
I'm not resisting. You can't make me resist. I know my rights.
Joe.
They picked him up spending money like confetti, Lieutenant.
I was not. I
Oh,
was just...
brother, let me handle this guy.
Oh, now take it easy, Mr. Valentine. I didn't hit you very hard. I tried
no,
not to.
Buster, not half as hard as
Wait
I...
a minute. I taped you up comfortable, didn't I?
Delivery boy, huh?
Oh, that was just an act. Only job I had in weeks. I'm an actor, see? And
You're a what?
Sure, that's what I am. Used to wrestle on television. Now listen to me. I did it just for $100, that's all. If I'd have known what kind of job it was going to be,
You'd have asked for more, I know. What kind of a job was it?
Just what I did. Shakedown. Some kind of shakedown, I guess.
How do you know? You're a hired hand. Who hired you?
He did. What? Him. The one lying there. I don't know anything. He could tell you all right. If he wasn't so dead.
That does it. That does it. Checkmate. Ring around the rosy.
Now, look, Riley, I know it's that kind of a case. Like what I still want to know what happened in the missing hour. But if we stick to what we've got, maybe we'll find out. Now, look at these other ones. This other envelope, Brooksy.
It's just a wrapper, that's all.
One of Aunt Nellie's letters was in it.
All of them must have been in it to carry the letter, sure. But look at the coat of arms, Riley.
Yeah?
There wasn't a new Cosmopolitan Hotel in 1851, was there?
What's that?
But there is now. Right here in town, right around the corner, the new Cosmopolitan.
Here. Room 714.
Yeah, give me that phone.
Yes, hello. This is Mr. Cruikshank speaking.
Hiram J. Crookshank from Bangor, Maine.
Yes, that's right. Who is this? Are you from Maine?
Look, I just talked to the desk. They said you were 714. Now, how long you been in town, Mr. Crookshank?
Well, I'm just leaving, Picked up my tickets at the station. Oh, a week. Yes, week, I guess. See here, I'm busy with a caller just now. Who is this?
Well, look, this is George Valentine speaking.
Who?
I said
I didn't quite get the tone of your voice, young man.
George Valentine. And before you take any trains this afternoon, you...
Valentine. Well, how do you like that?
Huh? Hey, what... Mr. Crookshank. Hung up. Come on.
Oh, no, sir. Mr. Crookshank hasn't checked out yet. I'd know because he raises a fuss every time he turns around. Only has one arm, but you ought to see him count change with it. Nearsighted, but you ought to see him add a bill over your shoulder.
Is Crookshank's a tightwad?
Oh, no. I only expect 6 or 7 cents out of a nickel. Bellboy's delight. Here in town to make some kind of a deal, they say.
Yeah, what else do they say?
Down to the right now. Here to sell something. Did it this morning. Came in looking like he swallowed the mint.
So Crookshank's here to sell something and did.
George, the letters, he must be the one who...
Excuse me, this is it. Now watch this. Callers, he'll say. Someone from Maine? Then who are they? What do they want? Man has to watch himself in this part of the country, he'll say. Man has to be careful how he...
Yeah. Man has to be careful, all right.
Dead. Slugged from behind with a lamp, I guess. Deader than
George,
Kelsey.
I've seen him before, I have. In the office, a week or so ago. I didn't think anything of it, but it was Mr. Crookshank, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, what's all this?
Well, he wanted somebody investigated. You weren't there, George. He didn't tell me anything, just said he'd get in touch later if he needed you.
Didn't tell you anything, huh? Nobody tells anybody anything in this
Skip
case.
it, Riley, skip it. Look at the room. It's been combed over just like my office.
I know it. So has he. Look, pockets, everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, but nothing taken. At least not the usual. And the keys, the travel folders. Wallet isn't even touched.
It's all packed and ready to leave.
That all there is?
You mean on him?
Yeah.
Sure. The wallet, Rotary Club. What more do you want? Hey, listen to this.
What?
It's a copy of a letter he typed several days ago, apparently. It says, I have the cover in question. You have the money I need.
Cover?
How many more words do you need for blackmail? It says, my agent will get in touch with you at the earliest convenience. Considering the value of subject, I'm sure you will have no objection to meeting my price. Hiram J. Crookshank.
Agent? Sure, of course.
And this letter, my friend, was addressed to Mr. J.W. Wagner.
Wagner?
Yeah, that's the same one, all right. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. The sale was made. This sharp little boy from Maine came out here and sold this stuff.
Hey, let me see the rest of that.
Because there, my friends, is a check. $50,000. Oh, Wagner handles investments all right.
It's made out to him, Crookshank.
Signed by Wagner, dated to date for $50,000.
Wait a minute. What else is in his pocket?
Don't heckle me, son. Hand me that phone. Hello? Hello? Huh?
Oh, Lieutenant, I was just going to ring the room there.
No, all right, Sergeant, get off the line. I want to make a
We
call.
checked the hotel personnel, sir.
Yeah.
No one seems to have noticed anyone unusual coming in or going out.
All right, Sergeant. I want to make
The
a call.
boys found the gun that killed Jimmy Hanks in the alley behind Mr. Valentine's office building. Thought you'd want to know there weren't any fingerprints on it.
And I thought you'd want to know you'll be pounding a beat and I should get off this phone. Now get me Wagner. J.W. Wagner. Investments. Oh, sure. The kind of clients he has.
Riley, will you stop going crazy? Just give me that stuff in your hand. The keys, travel folder, the check, the letter.
Now, wait a minute. Where you going?
To put your jigsaw together. There's one thing missing.
What? But he don't answer. This guy...
Of course he doesn't answer. Come on, Angel. We're going to catch a train. Yeah, here we are. Apartment 2, Brady.
George, I know Mr. Crookshank said he'd picked up his tickets, but why on earth would anybody take them?
Hold it.
There, it's empty. Of course it's empty.
Now the light's on. Fan's on. Blind pulled up. Well, sit down, Angel. Relax.
Now the train's already moving.
All this time I've been trying to figure what happened in our office during that hour that was missing. There wasn't that at all, was it? Joe's slugging was just to keep me out of the way for a while. It was what you did that was important, Brooksy. What he got you to do.
Oh, Sue!
Come in. Come in, Sue. Shut the door.
I didn't expect
I know. Surprise.
Mr. Valentine?
I guess the gun could have gotten in the alley by your tossing it out the window of my office, couldn't it?
What?
Jimmy Hanks. You killed him. We got there just after it happened. And you pulled a fast story to cover.
What? Miss Brooks, you seen me eating lunch. We're practically friends. Explain to him what happened.
One-armed men don't type professional-looking letters, Sue.
Well,
Okay, now let's stick to Jimmy. What was he, a partner, boyfriend? Confidence game expert you called in when you thought you'd stumbled into a good pitch?
No.
Because that's what happened, isn't it?
No.
Crookshank called you to write a letter. That one to Wagner. And you got all excited and went to work, called in Jimmy. Then when Riley let you go today, you had to go out and kill Crookshank, didn't you? He's the only one who could have tied you up in all this.
Sure. Hotel personnel didn't notice her. A public stenographer's nothing unusual around there.
Yeah, that's right. But oh, no, you don't, sister.
He double-crossed me. I had to, but it was his son. Stop it. Let go of me.
Yeah. Now, that's better, lady.
Crookshank was a blackmailer. You seen that letter, you know what I mean. Of course, I got big ideas. He was in town to sell a bundle of letters to a big shot. You know, one of them boys with hobbies on the side, J.W. Wagner. When I got an inkling how much money he might pay us.
What did you and Jimmy intend to do?
Well, Crookshank wanted Wagner investigated. Make sure he had money. Went up to hire Mr. Valentine, but he wasn't in.
Last week in the office, of course.
Well, he'd seen you, Miss Brooks, and I knew who you were, but he'd never seen Mr. Valentine. He just pretended Jimmy was you.
So he investigated Wagner and wrote a phony check.
Yeah, $50,000. How to swindle a swindler. Sure, we wanted to get a hold of them letters.
So you could hold up Wagner later on yourself.
We were so smart. Crookshank fell for it, we thought. He took the check, worried if Wagner would get the letters all right. That's all Jimmy hired Joe for.
To get Brooksy to run a dummy envelope over to Wagner's office?
Yeah, Jimmy got Crookshank to phone Wagner's office. The secretary said, sure, Miss Brooks delivered the package all right. We wanted our amateur blackmailer to leave town happy. We wanted time to shake down Wagner ourselves.
What went wrong? You completed the deal. You got the letters.
That's when Jimmy turned on me. Tried to make me believe the amateur wasn't so amateurish. We gave Crookshank a phony check. He gave us phony letters. They weren't blackmail letters at all, he said. Nothing but stuff from Aunt Nellie, he said. Jimmy thought you were mixed up in the double cross.
So you had a big fight in my office, and he ended up dead. And then you tore the place apart. And I just telephoned Crookshank, and he was probably pumping you full of questions, and you killed him.
Yes, stop it, will you stop it?
You thought you were out swindling a swindler. You thought you were broke and had to swipe a train ticket. When all along you had a $50,000 investment in your hand.
What'd you say?
Yeah, that's right. A cover, Sue, is something that collectors buy. It's an envelope with a valuable stamp on it.
Oh, there they are, George. They're all still in the wastebasket.
Well, your office has been locked, Mr. Valentine.
Yeah, look at this. Listen. 1851. Hawaiian 2-cent. Unwatermarked. $15,000. That's the blue one. And the same year, 5 cents.
There are 3 envelopes. Well, altogether, they must be worth even more than $50,000.
Uh-huh.
That crazy little girl thought she'd stumbled into a sale of blackmail letters.
Well, it seems to me that crazy little girl must have been a pretty vicious sort of... What are you looking at me for?
I don't know, Mr. Varney. For a while, I thought maybe you had something to do with this.
Me? No, see here, I just moved in.
I know. You're right. She was awful.
Awful amateurish. Awful stupid.
Mm-hmm. Scares you sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, she had the wrong kind of boyfriend. Oh, George. Sometimes...
Hey, wait a minute. What are you...
Oh, go on, Miss Brooks. Kiss him again. You know, I think I'm going to like this building.
You're driving along the highway and everything's fine. You don't need gasoline and you don't need oil, but you would like to stop at a service station where you could be pretty certain of finding a clean restroom and where you'd be welcome without feeling you had to buy something. Well, you shouldn't have to go far. What you're looking for is an independent Chevron gas station or a standard station. And wherever you drive in the West, you're never far from one of these. Here, the restrooms are cleaned thoroughly, inspected often, kept well supplied with soap and towels. And you're welcome to use them any time. So keep this in mind. Next time you go for a drive, for a clean restroom and a friendly welcome, it's a standard station or an independent Chevron gas station. Here, too, you can be sure of getting quality products like Chevron Supreme gasoline and top service. For here's where they say and mean, we take better care of your car. Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard Oil Company of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Robert Bailey is starred as George with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. Let George Do It is written by David Victor and Jackson Gillis and directed by Don Clark. Wally Mayer appears as Lieutenant Riley. Shirley Mitchell was heard as Sue, Joe Forte as Wagner, Tom Tully as Varney, Stanley Farrar as Crookshank, and Jack Lloyd as Joe. The music was composed and presented by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
There you go for all of our Bob Bailey fans from September 18th, 1950. Let George Do It. I'm Wyatt Cox, and you're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll head to Pine Ridge, Arkansas in just a moment. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. You know that I've always talked about my pillow, and I sleep with a my pillow every night. If you want to give your youngster who's heading off to school something special, get the My Pillow products. The My Pillow 20th Anniversary Limited Edition Queen Size is on sale right now for just $19.98 for the queen size. King size is just $10 more. You can also get percale sheets as low as $25. A six-piece My Pillow towel set. Your youngsters are going to need towels in college. $39.98. $39.99. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. And the original My Slippers are available, $49.98. They're going to need stuff for Christmas. They're going to need stuff for running off to school. So do that, Go to mypillow.com, click on the Radio Listener Square, use my promo code Wyatt, or give this phone number a call, 1-800-928-4715. That's 1-800-928-4715. Get that youngster off to college. Get them what they need to set up housekeeping with MyPillow, mypillow.com. All righty. Now we're going to head to Pine Ridge, Arkansas, as I mentioned. This episode of Lum and Abner was originally broadcast, and we're going all the way back to the early days, almost 90 years ago, September 18th, 1935.
Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner. Brought to you by the makers of Horlicks, the original malted milk. Before we go any further, I'd like to talk a minute to those of you who don't sleep well at night. Losing precious hours of sleep is something few of us can afford to do. Your doctor will tell you that plenty of sound, restful sleep is something we all must have. And here's a way to help get it. Before you retire at night, drink hot a glass full of Horlicks. Don't eat a lot of late supper. Besides, you'll find a glass full of Horlicks ample nourishment last thing at night. And here's what Horlicks does. It soothes and relaxes you and prevents night hunger, reduces restlessness, and helps promote sounder, more refreshing sleep. You'll soon discover that when you wake next morning. You'll feel so much more alert, more wide awake, as fit as a fiddle. If you're troubled with lack of proper sleep, by all means try this Horlick plan. You can get Horlicks, in either natural or chocolate flavor. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. Well, if you were with us yesterday when we went to Pine Ridge, you learned that Mr. Donahue, who purchased 3 shares of stock in the Great Western Sterling Silver Company Monday, turned out to be a representative of the Department of Justice. He was sent there to investigate the sale of fraudulent stock and has now arrested Lum on the charge of violating the Blue Sky Law. As we look in on our friends today, we find Lum locked in the Pine Ridge jail. Abner is just returning from a trip around town trying to raise a bond for Lum's release. Listen.
Yeah, how'd you come out, Abner? Did you get it?
Why, I got some signed up, Lum. I tell you, a $5,000 bond is pretty hard to raise around this town.
Yeah, well, they had no business setting a bond for any such amount as that in the first place. I ain't gonna try to run off.
No. Well, I think we'll get it raised all right.
I wish you'd hurry up. I want to get out of here.
Yeah, well, I never got to see, Lum. I just thought I'd drop around and see them tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I just figured I'd take a whole day tomorrow and talk to them I never seen today.
Well, that's the trouble. Keep putting it off that way. You oughtn't to never put nothing off till tomorrow that you can do today, Abner. You know that old lettered saying of mine, tomorrow never comes.
Well, I just figured. Huh?
I say tomorrow never comes.
What's the reason it don't?
Well, it just don't, that's all.
You mean that there ain't gonna be no tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, there is a tomorrow, all right, but it just don't never get here.
Well, I don't get it always has. Tomorrow's tomorrow. I bet it gets here.
And you just lose your bet then, for tomorrow never gets here. Anybody knows that.
You mean that you think the world is coming to an end tonight?
No, Abner, but when tomorrow gets here, it's today.
Oh, why, you must be mixed up on your days, Lum. Today's today. In the morning when we get up, why, it'll be tomorrow.
No, there's where you're wrong. In the morning when we get up, it'll be today.
You mean that I'll get up today for tomorrow, a whole day ahead of myself?
No, you still don't understand what I mean.
Well, I've done got up once today. I know I ain't going back to bed and get up again.
Why, of course not. When you go to bed tonight, tomorrow is tomorrow. But when you get up in the morning, it'll start being today.
Well, that's the craziest talk I ever heard a man make. I don't see how you could get yourself so mixed up.
I ain't mixed up. You said you was aiming on getting the rest of them signers on the bond tomorrow, and I said tomorrow'll never get here, and it won't.
Well, if that's the case, why, I'll just wait till day after tomorrow, then.
Well, the day after tomorrow won't get here neither.
It won't? Oh, my goodness, a lie.
See, day after tomorrow's all as 2 days ahead of us. See, day after tomorrow will be tomorrow.
Well, it can't be tomorrow and day after tomorrow both, Lum. You're trying to crowd 2 days into one. Can't be but 1 day at a time. It's just 24 hours a day.
No, you're just mixed up, Abner. Yesterday, today was tomorrow.
Doggy, you're worse off now than ever. You're trying to crowd 3 days into one.
I ain't no such a thing.
Yeah, done it.
Swan, Abner, you're the hardest feller to explain anything to I ever seen in my life.
Well, I can understand something with some sense to it, but
you're just trying to start an argument. That's what you're doing.
No, I ain't. I'm just trying to find out about it. Doggies, if there ain't gonna be no tomorrow, why, I've got a lot of stuff to tend to.
No, it ain't no use to get excited about it now. You can go on same as usual. I'm just saying don't put things off till tomorrow. You ought to finish getting that bond signed today.
Bond nothing. I've got a heap more important things than that to tend to if tomorrow ain't coming. I've got a lot of repenting to do.
Repenting?
Yes, sir. I'm going over right now to Eli Wilkins and tell him that horse I traded him the other day is blind as a bat and swap back with him. I want to pay my church dues. There are a batch of things I've got to tend to. I won't have no time to get up no bond.
Well, there ain't nothing to worry about, Abner. Just calm yourself down.
Well, now, there might not be nothing for you to worry about. I don't know how you've been living, but doggies, I'm going to be a busy man tonight. I just wish you'd have told me about this sooner, Lum. When did you first find out about it?
I've always known it.
But you sure kept it to yourself. Wait a minute. What was it you said a minute ago about yesterday?
I said yesterday, today was tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. Lum, you're feeling all right, ain't you?
Feeling all right? Why, yes, feeling fine. Why?
Oh, nothing. I just wondered. You ain't had no falls recent, have you?
Falls?
Yeah, you ain't bumped your head no way.
Why, no. Well, I did fall down the stairs to my barn loft a day or two ago, but I never hurt myself none.
There it is.
It was right funny. I'd been up there looking for a hen's nest and started down the stairs. Wait a minute here. How'd you know about that anyway?
Oh, I just suspicion maybe it has. You sure you never bumped your head?
Oh, no, it never hurt me none, thank you.
You don't sort of get dizzy when you stand up or nothing, do you?
Oh, no, now don't worry about it. It never hurt me none. I'd have said something about it if I'd have got hurt.
Well, now, maybe you're hurt and don't know it, Lum.
Well, that's mighty thoughty of you to take that much interest in me, Abner, but I know I ain't hurt, so just forget about it.
Well, can you recollect things all right?
Well, of course I can recollect things.
Well, let's see. What have they got you locked up in jail here for?
Why, they claim I violated the blue sky law. But if I did, I never noticed.
Well, do you recollect that Mr. Donahue's buying some stock from you day before yesterday?
Why, sure, he bought $100 worth.
That's right. Well, who was it arrested you yesterday?
Why, Mr. Don... Hey, what are you trying to do? Trying to cross-examine
No, now, don't get excited, Lum. I never meant no harm by it now. It's all right. Everything's all right now. Just calm yourself down.
Well, looky yonder. There comes Ezra Seastrong. Nice of him to drop over to see me. Get that bond ready for him to sign, Abner.
That ain't Ezra Seastrong.
Huh?
That's Dick Huddleston.
Oh, why, yeah, sure. I recollect now. He said he'd be over here. He said yesterday he'd be over tomorrow.
Well, he's a day early then, ain't he?
Why, no. He's right on time. Today's tomorrow, ain't it?
Why, no, today's... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all right now, Lum. Don't get excited now. It's all right now. Just sit down now. Rest yourself now. Lum, I sort of want to speak to Dick a minute before he gets here. You know, this little private matter betwixt me and him.
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
Wait just a minute, Dick. I want to talk to you.
Well, sure. What's the matter? Howdy, Lum.
Yeah, howdy, Dick.
Excuse us just a minute.
Oh, sure, that's all right.
I know it. I'm sure proud you come over, Dick. I'm just might not worried to death.
Well, what's the matter, Abner?
I'm worried about Lum.
About Lum?
Yes, sir, Dick. I hate to say it, but I'm just afeard old Lum's losing his reason.
Losing his reason? Whatever made you think such a thing as that?
Well, it's a fact. You know who he said you was when you come up just now? Said you was Ezra Seastrong.
Well, that's no sign, Abner. Ezra and I have been mistaken for each other lots of times. And Lum's eyes aren't any too good either.
No, and his mind ain't neither. I believe he just worried so much about this silver mine and getting me arrested yesterday and thrown in jail and all that it's just affected him. Why, he's been doing some of the craziest talk just now that I ever heard a human do. Clean out of his head. Had me scared to death. Well, fact is, whenever I seen you coming up, I was just trying to figure out some way to slip away from here without him noticing it. He's addled, I tell you. And that fall might have had something to do with it, too.
What fall?
Why, he fell down his barn steps the other night. He said that it never hurt him, but he must have hit his head against something, and he's just so addled now that he don't recollect it.
Well, what's he been saying, Abner?
Why, he says that the world is coming to an end.
That the world's coming to an end?
Yes, sir. Tonight. Says tomorrow won't get here.
Well, for goodness sake. Well, poor old Lum, that's a shame. Says it's the last day, huh?
That's what he says. It's awful sad, but some of the arguments he puts up about tomorrow not getting here is just downright funny.
Well, come on, let's go on over, and I'll get him started on that subject and see what he says about tomorrow.
Yeah, I just want you to hear him. Look at his eyes. You can tell he's off by looking at them.
How you feel today, Lum?
Oh, good as could be expected, I reckon, Dick. Worried myself clean out of my head.
Oh, well, now, you'll get over that all right, Lum, I think.
Oh, yes, I'll feel better tomorrow when I get out of here.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, you said you was going to finish getting the bond up tomorrow, didn't you?
Well, I do know. Well, I'm proud to hear you talking that way.
What way? What's the matter?
Well, I don't know where you recollect it or not, Lum, but you told me a while ago that tomorrow would never get here. Today was the last day.
No, you never understood what I meant, Abner. I said tomorrow never comes.
Said what, Lum?
Why, you know that old saying, Dick. Tomorrow never comes. I was trying to learn Abner here not to put things off till tomorrow.
Oh, why, sure. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
See there, Abner?
Well, Lum's right about it, Abner. Tomorrow never comes.
Why, of course he don't.
You mean that you believe that too, Dick?
Why, sure. Tomorrow'll never get here.
You see, Abner, tomorrow will be today tomorrow.
Why, yes. Today is the tomorrow we had yesterday, and day after tomorrow will be the tomorrow we have tomorrow.
Look out, Dick. Put that stick of stove wood down there, Abner. What are you fixing to do there?
I don't stand back. Me or you fellers one is losing your minds, and if every one of you comes a step closer, I'm going to whop you over the head with this stick of stove wood. I dog it, I've just listened to all this kind of talking.
Well, we can't blame Abner very much. I'm afraid we're a little confused ourselves. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear what Mrs. Anita B. Dunlap has to say. Mrs. Dunlap lives in Marion, Ohio, and writes as follows.
My son had 10 operations before he was 7 weeks old. He was in an incubator and was fed with a medicine dropper. At the age of 3 weeks, he was started on your product, Horlicks, and gained gradually until at 7 weeks old he was taken out of the incubator. He cut all his teeth before he was 1 year old, and never a bit of trouble.
We want to thank Mrs. Dunlap. Hers is a very typical letter. It may surprise you to know that we receive many such letters from all over the country, from happy and grateful mothers who have reared their children on Horlicks. We certainly are glad to hear it proved so fine for her son, and we hope he continues in good health. This is Carlton Brickert, speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all goodbye until tomorrow at this same time.
They never do get it, do they? September 18th, 1935, Lum and Abner here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. You can catch all of our past episodes at classicradio.stream or through any podcast app. We prefer you go to Spreaker at Spreaker.com. Download the Spreaker app for your phone and search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. You'll see us there. And, of course, a reminder of our friend Ted at RadioMemories.com, a nice guy. A reminder of MyPillow.com, promo code Wyatt. Get something nice for your for your furry friend, your pup or your cat. They got all sorts of stuff there. I don't think they have anything for birds. I haven't checked that because, parakeets and all those animals, they're for the birds and not for me. But have yourself a great day. We'll run around tomorrow here, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for listening.